Okay, occasionally we'll have an armature failure. The splines in the end of the armature will fail, so we'll need to take this armature out and replace it. So the first thing we want to do is go in and undo the brushes to get the spring tension off of the brushes. There's 4 sets of them. We're going to make sure we get all 4 sets loose. There's 2. And we're just locking these back behind these little catches that they have. We're going to rotate this over, get into the last set here. And then we're going to pull the cover plate off here. We can go ahead and pull this in loose also. All right, so we're going to get a couple of pry bars in here, and we're going to stay away from the fan so we don't damage the fan. We pry that out a little at a time. Okay, we've got 1 wire that's connected here. We can go ahead and leave that wire connected, I believe. Pull that armature out, and then we'll use a puller to pull this cap off of the end of that. Okay, so I've made this puller here for working on these here at our shop. I bolt it on there. And then that pulls that end cap off, and we can put the end cap on the new armature. So we're just going to use this press and slowly push this down on there. The bearing is going to need to seat. And it's fully seated, and we're ready to go put the motor back together. Okay, so now we have the bearing pressed all the way up on there. And carefully slide this back in. We'll make sure all these brushes are on the all the way outside, and we'll slide this on. So we're going to tap this up on there with a dead blow hammer. We want to get it up on there far enough where we can get our screws started. Okay, so we want to make sure that this is seated all the way up against the motor. And then we want to make sure that it's going to spin freely. It looks like it's in a little bit of a bind. So we're going to take a bolt, we're going to put in the end of this shaft, let it go all the way back in and hit past the splines. And we're going to knock that shaft each way, each direction. And then we're going to make sure we can spin that by hand, and we can. So that means that the bearings are not in a bind and we're ready to go back to work. So we're just going to put these back in and put them over the top of the brush. All right. Now we can go ahead and put the mounting plate back on this end. All right, now we're ready to reinstall it back in the machine.